What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and to episode 6 of Let's Play Dark Fort with Page Mythic. Dark Fort is a solo micro RPG adjacent to Mörk Borg. You can find a link in the description to the fanzine that contains Dark Fort, and our oracle for this campaign is Page Mythic. This is a one-page version of the Mythic Game Master Emulator, one of the probably the best solo role-playing tool of all time. Yeah, we have a total of 5 pages of role-playing material here, and we're having a great time with it. In the last session, Kargunt is exploring the catacombs of Artifil. This is a catacomb underneath a cathedral. He is exploring the catacombs to find and exterminate the cultists that are living beneath the catacombs. So his mission is to come here and to eradicate the cult. Pretty brutal. In the last episode, Kargunt explored this wing to the east that you can see here. These rooms were all filled with these crazy, light reflecting and bending chandeliers, all of these fragrance incense stations, maybe like seating area, basically like these religious lounge type rooms for people to come and worship and to talk and whatnot. And as Kargunt is wandering through these rooms, he encounters a Medusa, and we had a very brutal combat with the Medusa. Kargunt was reduced down to 1 health when he took 2 massive blows with a 2-handed blade to the side. His ribs are basically destroyed. Kargunt is coughing up blood. He is limp. He has a major limp. Kargunt is on the brink of death. So as you can see here, Kargunt has 1 hit points. Now, what Kargunt needs mechanically within the game of Dark Fort is one of 2 things. One, Kargunt has 17 silver. You can see here. If we were able to make it to a peddler from beyond the void, we could buy a potion. At least one we could buy. I think 4. Yeah, we could buy 4 potions. We could completely heal ourselves if we were able to find a peddler from beyond the void and kind of reset the situation. The other and less desirable outcome would be to earn points. So Kargunt is currently at 7 out of 15 points to reach the next level. So Kargunt has explored all 12 of the rooms he needs to hit level 2. He needs 8 more points to reach level 2, and we earn these points through winning combats. Now, obviously, this would be incredibly dangerous as we are at 1 hit point, but theoretically, Kargunt could reach level 2 and then also get lucky with a dice roll that helps him out of the situation. When we level up, we roll on this kind of like leveling table. One of the options is running into an occult herb master that gives you 5 potions. So that's a very far-fetched idea. Technically, it is a chance, though. So our the most likely way that we are going to actually save Kargunt today in this session would be to come across a peddler from beyond the void. So Kargunt is going to press on in the hopes that he will find a peddler to purchase potions and healing supplies from. Kargunt is wearing armor and he is wielding a flail. The armor will soak damage, so as long as at the end of the last session we ran into a soothsayer. I was going to say, as long as you don't run into soothsayers, we can soak up to D4 damage, so that's also a chance to not die if we take a damage for some reason. Yeah, so Kargunt is going to press forward to the north through this door. We actually the last dice roll, if I recall correctly, was supposed to have 2 doors. So I'm going to make this little mark to show that we can actually exit to the north or the south of this room. And just to make that really clear, I'm going to go ahead and continue traveling to the south towards the camera. Alright, so in Dark Fort, when we generate a room, we roll 2d6 and a d4. Let's get our first room roll of the session. Can't believe it's already episode 6. We get a 5-1, so there's no doors, and a 5 is, let's see, we're on the wrong side of the page. A 5 is a corridor with no doors. Okay, so I'm going to draw this corridor kind of extending out. I think that this is like, I don't know, this is maybe this is an intentional dead end. Maybe this is like a corridor where they had plans for future expansion. I'm not exactly certain. It seems that, okay, given the context of where we are, this kind of like catacomb beneath a cathedral with all of these like religious areas, religious art and whatnot. My expectation is that this particular corridor is either a planned expansion and it has nothing in it yet. Maybe it's just empty, or maybe they've already kind of added some religious art to this wing, and maybe it is actually a little museum area that is intentionally designed to just be a kind of corridor you walk down to look and see these religious icons. I don't know. We're going to ask the fate chart some questions. So first off, we'll make this a 50-50. Is the corridor just empty? I'm going to say it's 50-50. So 32, yes, this corridor is empty. This is just an empty corridor. So I'm going to make a note. I'm going to say empty. But we also have to roll on the Dark Fort room table. This is a d6, and this will determine what we find in the room mechanically within the context of the solo RPG Dark Fort. Oh no! We roll a 5. This is a tough monster. This is horrible news. This is awful news. Okay, so Kargunt is going to enter this empty hallway, and at the other end of the hallway, looming in the darkness, Kargunt sees a necro sorcerer. I'm going to make a note here. So we encounter a necro sorcerer that is just creepily at the end of this empty hallway. Okay, so this is kind of like a boss fight, similar to the fight with the Medusa. I have some questions. What was this sorcerer doing in the room, in the corridor as we entered? What is going on here? 24. He was controlling. Ooh, what could he be controlling? Maybe he was controlling the Medusa in the other room? I don't know. Does he have some kind of like... Let's ask. Is the sorcerer surrounded in like, I don't know, like a circle with runes? Was he using some kind of magic to control the Medusa in the next room? I don't know. I'm going to make that a 50-50. 40, yes. So Kargunt is not aware of this, of exactly how this works, but Kargunt comes across a sorcerer, necro sorcerer, at the other end of this corridor, on the floor, surrounded by maybe like little candles, runes. We know that he was actually controlling the Medusa in the next room. This is just some flavor for us. Kargunt doesn't know this. Kargunt just sees this creepy enemy surrounded by his occult symbols, and he knows that this is someone that wants to kill him. He knows that this is a member of the cult, and we can treat necro sorcerers as kind of like the leaders of whatever the cult is down in the catacomb. So the number of necro sorcerers there are in the catacomb probably represents the leadership of the cult. Okay, so something that we should note is that if we flee from combat, let's see, anyone with 0 HP or less dies. You can try to flee a fight, taking D4 damage and leaving the room unexplored. Okay, so Kargunt is at 1 HP, and we kind of had this conversation the last time. In combat, if we flee, we at least take 1 damage. Now, we can soak the damage with our armor. I actually didn't even think about that. So we essentially can say we're not going to... we can essentially say that we're not going to earn the explored room, but we will take the damage. I didn't even think this through. Wow. Okay, we can make the choice to flee combat, but we don't get the explored room, and we take a D4 hit in damage, and we soak D4 damage. So with armor, we actually can flee and maybe live. Okay, so this is really risky, but I think it's less risky than fighting the sorcerer. So there's a necro sorcerer in this room. If we fight him, we'll get silver, but we already have the silver we need to earn potions, so we really need a peddler from beyond the void. Okay, the chances of us killing the necro sorcerer, we'd have to make multiple 50-50 rolls. We'd have to roll for a 4 or higher on the d6. Let me change you back over to the rules. To hit a necro sorcerer, we need to roll a 4 on our dice out of 6. So, and then we can deal d6 damage, and he has 8 HP. So we have to at least we have to hit twice, and we have to deal 8 damage before we take 1 point of damage. Every time we take damage, it is a d4 roll against our d4 soaking. So whatever the case, fleeing at least, if we succeed, we're not up for another hit, we can run. Okay, so I'm going to make the call that Kargunt's, bloody, terrified, he's about to die. He sees the sorcerer, he looks terrifying. Kargunt is going to try to like back away and flee the combat. Now, the sorcerer notices Kargunt, and the sorcerer, so he goes back and forth between dealing a d4 and a d6 with his, which is a death ray. Every other attack is a death ray. So I'm going to say that it's d4 damage. The sorcerer attacks Kargunt, obviously. Does he close to melee range? This is the question that I'm asking myself. In my mind, I kind of wanted to picture that he like fires a blast of his death ray at Kargunt, and Kargunt, just kind of like runs out of the other end of the tunnel as fast as he can. You know what? Well, just for flavor, we'll make that the case. So the necromancer, seeing Kargunt, he raises this staff, this horrible-looking, twisted staff with something on the end of it. Let's describe what is at the end of the necrosorcerer's staff. 06, something bleak. So he has a skull on the end of his staff. He aims it and he fires this death ray at Kargunt that's going to, let's see if it's going to hit or miss at such a range. Well, so actually, if this does d4 damage, let's say that the blast lands somewhere near Kargunt and shatters part of the wall. Maybe this explosion is what causes him damage. And the d4 roll of 1 to 4 is how much of the blast Kargunt gets caught in. Okay, so this is a life or death dice roll. We are going to roll 2 dice. The first d4 is damage we take, and the second d4 is the damage we soak. We need the second d4 to be bigger than the first d4, or Kargunt dies right now. All right, let's give it a try. The Necrosorcerer's damage is a 3. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the blast lands really close to Kargunt, in this spray of like stone shrapnel, comes right at him. It explodes all around him. The question is how much of it hits and clangs off of his armor, and how much of it deals damage underneath. So we need to roll a 3 or a 4. This is a 50-50 chance at life. If we roll a 3 or a 4 on this d4, then Kargunt soaks the damage with his armor and can limp off to fight another day. If we roll a 1 or a 2, Kargunt takes at least 1 HP of damage and dies. All right, let's leave it up to fate. I'm going to give this a nice shake. This is a 3 or 4 kind of a shake, not a 1 or 2 kind of a shake. All right, here we go. And 3! Kargunt soaks all 3 points of damage. The stone... Oh my gosh, the stone clangs off of his armor in this explosion. He stumbles backwards out of the hallway back into the rooms with the incense and the incense and worship areas with the chandeliers and the crazy lights. The Necrosorcerer is somewhere behind him, but Kargunt manages to tank the blow with his armor. Thank God we have that armor. And make his way out of the corridor. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe Kargunt survived another just brush with death like that. Okay, so if we look at the character sheet, we're already at 12 out of 12 rooms explored. This last incense room was the 12th room. So we don't get to count the corridor as a room explored because we didn't kill the sorcerer. However, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if we get to 20 rooms explored before we level up. All that matters is that we get to at least 12. So we basically take no punishment for just running into a boss fight, a Necrosorcerer, and escaping with our lives. That is intense. Okay, so now when we get back into this room, the incense and worship room where the Soothsayer was, we need to see if there's now a weak monster in the room. So we're going to roll a d4, and if it lands on a 1, there is a weak monster in the room. And we get a 4, so there's no weak monster in this room. That is perfect. We can now continue exploring the catacomb. We can reach this room to the north. Let's see what this room looks like. This is going to be a 2d6 and a d4. Wow, what a crazy session is this so far. We get 10-1, so no doors. This is not optimal. Okay, so 10 is a rectangular room, and then 1 is no doorway. So I'm going to draw this since, I don't know, let's make this great hall. There's this big room. We'll make it extend past these lounges, and I imagine that this is probably like the biggest, most epic religious hangout. Maybe this is some room where they have sermons or something. You would think they would do that in the cathedral above, so I'm not exactly sure that is the purpose of this room. Maybe this is some kind of a meeting room. Let's ask Mythic. Does this room have some kind of like facilities or tables, chairs, what have you, for a larger group of religious leaders to come together and have, you know, some kind of big? I imagine like a council of people from this religion come down here to hash things out. Who knows? I'm going to say that this is just likely. So 67, that is a no. That is not the purpose of this room. Okay, let's get a roll on the description table. What is this room like? We have a 79. This room is reassuring. Okay, so maybe this is... does this room have shrines to different gods around the sides of the room? I'm going to say that is nearly certain. 46, yes. So this room right here, has shrines to different deities within this pantheistic, or polytheistic, I should say, religion. I'm just going to make these little squares. These are shrines around the room, and in this space, you have these statues to these different deities surrounding the room. I'm going to make a note and say shrines. This is supposed to be a calming room where people can come and maybe have like a moment of silence and devotion. So that's actually pretty cool. That's a cool idea for a room. The catacomb is shaping out to be a kind of a fun one. Okay, $1 million question. What else is in the room? We want to roll a 6 on the d6, and we get a 1. There's nothing in the room. It is empty. Okay, I'm going to note empty. So this is another room explored, but we don't necessarily need to have another room explored, so that's not the greatest outcome. But it's not the worst outcome. We didn't just stumble into another Necrosorcerer. It is reassuring to me that we can flee any combat now, and we just have to do that D4 versus D4 roll. That's awful. It's like 50-50 basically, but that's better than trying to survive without taking a single point of damage from a tough monster. Yeah, that's hard. Okay, so we need to explore new rooms. So this is why that was a difficult outcome. So we're gonna have to make our way back through this incense and worship chamber to this one, and then we can explore a new room. So we have to survive through 2 previously explored rooms to get there. So this is going to be 2 rolls on a d4. If we come up with a 1, then we run into a weak monster in one of these rooms. Okay, so in the first chamber where we found the Soothsayer, there is no weak monster. Excellent. And then in the next room, let's give this an extra roll. We don't want to encounter a weak monster right now. We get a 3. Okay, so Kargunt is able to, he takes in everything in the shrine. He doesn't find anything interesting there. Kargunt backtracks through these 2 incense and worship rooms with the chandeliers and the crazy light, and he doesn't encounter anything. So he's going to explore this room to the west and see what we can find there. Can we find a peddler from beyond the void? We're going to roll 2d6 and a d4 for the room shape and the quantity of doors. We get a 10-3, so that is a rectangular room with 2 doors. Okay, so let's, just to make this easy, let's make the rectangle like, ooh, is that a door? Ooh, no, that's not a door. I drew the door off the wrong. That's so funny. Okay, so I accidentally drew this wing off of the wrong square. So we're gonna close this up. We're gonna make the doorways here and here. That's interesting. Okay, so we're gonna make this whole thing a room, and we're gonna have the doors be both on the south side. So we have these two doorways leading off of this one room. Okay. So what is this room like? I don't have any expectations for this room. I have no clue. It's a different shape. Let's go ahead and get some description of what this room is like. So description meaning table, we get a 2. This room is artificial. That is interesting. I want another word. 36. It's artificial and it is full. Okay, so this room is filled with something man-made. We had shrines in the other room. We had a broken statue. Is this maybe a statuary? Okay, that's the first thing that comes to mind. We're just going to say that this is a statuary. So this room maybe has little fake gardens in it and whatnot, and statues. Just another kind of place for someone to be kind of somber and to, you know, I guess, get their mind right with regards to the religion that they follow in this cathedral. So we're in the statuary garden, I'm going to say. We're in a statuary garden underground, which is pretty cool. Maybe there's water trickling in from one of the corners. That's kind of an interesting picture to paint. And now we need to know what is coming from the room table. We want a 6 on a d6 so that Kargunt can live. And we get a 1. This room is also empty. Okay, so another empty room. Kargunt presses on. He's leaving a trail of blood behind him because this man is actively dying. He's going to push forward to the next room. We're going to move to the south, let's say, towards the side closest to this wing. So this room right here, there's nothing to increment on the rooms explored because Kargunt has not hit level 2 yet. We're not tracking his rooms explored at the moment. Okay. 2d6 and a d4 for the room shape and size. We get 7, 4. So we have was that a square with 2 doors? Okay. So just to make this easy, I'm going to make this square connects to both of the doors. Or connects to the left door, I guess, out of this room, or from your perspective, the eastern door out of the room. So one of the 2 doors is here, and the other door is a new path off in this direction. That makes drawing the catacomb a little more simple, although it does slightly complicate our process of exploring the catacombs. But that's okay. Okay, so is this is this also a statuary? Is this just a wall separating more of the same kind of environment? It kind of seems, because of the weird way that this room is laid out, that would be likely. So we're just going to call this likely. It's just likely, not very likely. 82, that is not the case. So this room is something different. Let's get a description. Let's do a description meaning table. What is this room? 93. Describe this room to me. This room is strange. Okay. This is a weird room. Was this room a statuary before? And has it since been completely demolished and just ruined? Are there broken statues and damage everywhere around this room? I'm going to say that this is very likely. 46, yeah, so this is a ruined statuary garden. The stream running through this room, let's say, has been filled with, it's maybe been blocked by the rubble. Maybe this holy water has been stopped by someone came in here, destroyed the statues, and plugged this river for some reason. We don't exactly know why, but this is what Kargunt comes across. And now we need to roll on the Dark Fort room table to see what else is in this room. We desperately need a 6 on this d6. We've been exploring room after room. We've rolled 1s and 1s. We rolled a 5. That was awful. We need to avoid 2 through 5. We need to keep rolling 1s and 6s, but we really need a 6. Is there a peddler in this room? 4. Okay, so we face a weak monster in this room. This is not optimal, but it's not the worst case scenario. Okay, Let's roll a d4 and see what the weak monster is. This is a blood-drenched skeleton. Okay, so I'm going to mark that there is a skeleton, a blood-drenched skeleton in this room. Now, is this skeleton actively destroying the statues? I'm going to make this a 50-50. 76, that is a no. So the skeleton is just in this room. Let's say guarding. This skeleton is guarding the river. He wants to make sure that this stream of holy water stays stopped. We don't know why, but that's what the skeleton is doing. It's a little crazy. Now let's talk about our odds. So we're at 1 HP. To hit the skeleton, we need to roll a 3 or higher on a d6. So we actually have a 2/3 chance of hitting the skeleton every time. He only has 6 HP, and we do 6 + 1 damage. So we'd have to roll a 5 or a 6 to kill him. To kill it, I should say. So our choice is, do we do the d4 versus d4 and flee this combat, or do we try to kill the skeleton and earn its points? I could be wrong. I feel like the odds are slightly better for us to actually take the skeleton on. I know we have multiple chances to get hit, but if we get hit, it's a d4 versus a d4 anyway. We could soak the damage, and we have a pretty decent chance of not getting hit. Okay, I'm gonna say that Kargunt faces the skeleton. So the skeleton's in the room guarding this holy stream, and Kargunt, with his flail weakly in his hand, tries to solidify himself and approach the skeleton for mortal combat. All right, let's get a descriptor of what this particular combat is like. Let's get a description word to describe the combat. Okay, 71, we get peaceful. This is a peaceful combat. Okay, so I'm going to interpret this as Kargunt is not afraid to die in this moment. Kargunt is now suddenly at peace with what he has to do, and he slowly, steadily approaches the skeleton. The skeleton stands there on guard, defending the stream, and Kargunt just slowly approaches, and they face each other, ready for a moment of dueling. The skeleton should have some kind of either short sword or just kind of twisted knife or dagger is kind of what the skeleton is wielding. He's going to do a d4 damage if he hits. Okay, so the skeleton is worth 3 points. We have to roll at 3 or higher on this d6 to hit. We're at 1 health. The skeleton's at 6. Let's see what happens. We get a 4, so we hit. So Kargunt approaches the skeleton, and with his first swing, he, maybe the skeleton raises his dagger to block, and the flail wraps around and connects, still hits the skeleton past his defenses. How much damage does the flail do? This is going to do a d6 + 1, so if we can roll a 5 or a 6 on this die, then we will in one hit just shatter and destroy the skeleton. We roll a 2, so we're going to do 3 damage to the skeleton. So the flail, it wraps around the skeleton's dagger and takes a big chunk out of the shoulder of the skeleton that releases this hiss of anger and pain. Not really pain. This hiss of anger into the air at having just had its shoulder caved in and destroyed. So great job, Kargunt. First hit goes to him. The skeleton lost half of his health, so the blood-drenched skeleton is now down to 3 HP. We're going to go into the next round of combat. We're going to roll this again. We need to roll a 3 or higher to hit, and we get a 4, so we hit again. Yes, Kargunt's luck. What is happening today? Okay, so Kargunt, basically just backs up and swings again. The skeleton tries to block again. Maybe it's not very intelligent. The skeleton's trying to block this flail with his dagger, and the chain is wrapping around, and he's still managing to hit the skeleton. Now, if we can roll a 2 or higher on this, then we will kill the skeleton. We roll a 6. The second blow connects right. It just shatters down through the other shoulder, through the core of the skeleton. It falls apart into a bunch of bloody bone pieces. Excellent. This is excellent. Kargunt survives the encounter, so we actually earn 3 points. So we're going to increment our points to 10. We only need 5 more points to reach the next level. We can't keep risking combat with 1 health point, but that went pretty optimally. That was really cool. So Kargunt is in this room with all the damaged statuary, right? Everything's broken and stopped up, and the skeleton is dead. Kargunt very likely doesn't understand the significance of this river stream being stopped up. I'm going to ask if he understands what's going on. I'm going to say that it's nearly impossible that Kargunt is aware of the purpose of this river, this stream being blocked up. Nearly impossible. 70, yeah. So no, Kargunt doesn't understand. Kargunt is just going to carry on. He's going to head into the next room. Wow, that's honestly so exciting. Okay, so we survived. We survived stumbling upon a necro sorcerer. He didn't kill us, and we stumble across a blood-drenched skeleton. We actually kill it before he can kill Kargunt. This has been crazy. I feel like we're due. I feel like we're overdue for a peddler from Beyond the Void. Okay, so I had to cut a clip because there was some crazy loud noise outside, but I don't want to fudge any dice rolls, at any point in any of my campaigns. So just for transparency, I wanted to show you that Kargunt. I made the decision for Kargunt to step to the east into this empty space out of the ruined sanctuary with the stopped stream, maybe of holy water, and I rolled for the next room the 2d6 and the d4, and I got a 7-4. So this is if I can get back to my rules, that is a 7-4, so that should be a square with 2 doors. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. I want this to look more interesting, maybe. So with 2 doors, I'm going to make this, just for variation, I'm going to kind of have this little corner here and 2 doorways coming out. So we've got a square with 2 doors. And that is something to keep in mind. I really am a simulationist style player. I'm totally fine with my characters dying if I had a fun time in the process, and I actually enjoy, challenging games. So, yeah, I'm not going to fudge any dice rolls at any time. Keep that in mind. All right. So, what is this next room? I have no idea. Let's go over to Mythic Magazine and let's make a roll on the description meaning table. This room, 10, is clean. Okay, makes sense. Let's get something else. 73, this room is perfect. Okay, maybe we have another kind of shrine situation. I don't know. Perfect and clean makes me think that it's probably some kind of specific shrine. I don't know. This is kind of a piecemeal catacomb. Let's ask: Is this room a singular shrine to some particular deity? Let's say that is very likely given our description. So 90, that's a no. Let's go with another interpretation of perfect and clean. This room is a preparation room for sacrifice. This is a room where something that is going to be sacrificed comes into this room to... Okay, maybe not a preparation for sacrifice because that's kind of dirty, that's not clean. What if the next space we're about to enter is a particularly holy place, and this room is a preparation room for you to kind of like prepare yourself to go forward into the next space? So is there something of religious significance in this room that people need to do to make it through to the next area? Let's say that this is nearly certain. 92, that is also not the case. Okay, we're going to take a completely different interpretation of this. Let's get another word on the description meaning table to help us come to an interpretation of what the heck this perfect and clean room is, if it's not like a preparation for a holier part of the temple. Let's get 78. This room is quiet. Okay, why don't we say that this is a room of prayer? This is specifically, and I know that some of the intentions of these different rooms may seem to overlap, but this is specifically a quiet place for prayer. So I'm going to put quiet prayer room. I'm just going to put prayer room. So this is a kind of more solitary room. Let's say that there's nothing but like benches along the walls here. And there's some kind of like, writing that basically says to keep quiet in this room. This is a room specifically for solemn prayer. Okay, so we're in a prayer room just to keep things rolling forward, and we need to know if there is anything Dark Fort related in the room. Now we are looking for a 6 in particular. A 1 will be okay, but we really, really, really need to roll a 6. It is a life and death situation. Here we go. A 3. Ooh, this is bad. Okay, so we encounter a riddling soothsayer that is praying in the room. I don't know. He's in the room and he's focused in prayer, which is interesting because this would be counter to the religion. So maybe the soothsayer is trying to reverse the religious effects of the religious order in the cathedral. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but the soothsayer is praying in the room when he sees Kargunt enter, and of course he's going to use his mental attack, which is to kind of rattle off this riddle of the future in hopes of destroying Kargunt's mind. Okay, so Kargunt is very seriously injured. He is on the brink of death. Kargunt is sitting at 1 HP currently. If he takes any damage from the soothsayer, he's going to die. I'll also point out that the mind-shattering shockwave deals D4 damage, ignoring armor. So we're guaranteed to take 1 damage if the soothsayer riddle shakes our mind. We have to roll an odd number on this die. If we roll an odd result, we solve the riddle, and we actually get we can get points or silver, whichever one we think is more useful. And if we roll an even result, then Kargunt's adventure is over. All right, we're going to shake this up real well. This is an odd kind of shake. This is an odd shake and not an even shake. And 3, we roll an odd number. Oh my gosh, Kargunt solves the riddle. Oh my gosh. So Kargunt, he enters the room, and the soothsayer rattles off this crazy riddle, and Kargunt, thinks for a second and just confidently responds with the answer to the soothsayer. Once again, the soothsayer freaks out, he panics, he doesn't know what to do, and he gives us an offer, either silver or 3 points. Now that's not his offer. He's going to offer a silver for his life. If Kargunt can choose to take his life and earn 3 points. Now looking at what we've got going on over here, if we get points, we could roll on the level table soon. We could get to the point where we're able to level up and maybe, just maybe, get lucky and roll a number 4 to get potions. We also could get a buff of our maximum hit points, a buff that would raise our maximum hit points, and then we could get a bonus to attacking monsters. So this seems... Yeah, so okay, we have the silver already to... I'll show you. We have 17 silver. We can buy 4 potions. We have the silver to get us out of this immediate predicament of being near death. I'm going to make the call that Kargunt... he needs the points. So Kargunt stumbles up to this soothsayer and in one blow, kind of mercilessly, ends the soothsayer's life. It's gruesome. We're in this prayer room, and blood is spurting everywhere. I imagine that this is some kind of like crushing blow that just collapses the old soothsayer. It's really kind of messed up. But he was trying to kill Kargunt, so it is what it is. Kargunt is here to eradicate the cult, and this man's a part of it. So that's what he's here to do. Brutal, kind of a crazy moment. Kargunt has escaped his death on a 50-50 chance yet again. The odds that we can keep doing this are like 0. We cannot continue risking Kargunt's life over and over again. We have to find a peddler from beyond the void. It is something that we need. But now there's 2 options. We can find a peddler and we can buy potions, or if we can acquire 2 more points, we can level up and get some kind of bonus that will help us moving forward to not to not die. This is crazy, guys. This is nuts. Okay, so we need to keep moving. This is another room explored, but it doesn't matter because Kargunt is already sitting at 12 rooms explored. So it doesn't matter that we're exploring all these extra rooms. We actually need to be leveling up before we start acquiring rooms again towards a new level. Okay, let's say we're going to move to the east out of the prayer room. We're going to roll 2d6 and a d4 to see what the next room looks like, leaving this now blood-soaked room. We get a 9-4, so we get a round room with 2 doors. Interesting. Okay, so that's going to be a little challenging to do in this specific spot, but I'll just let's have, okay, we'll make this kind of like interesting arc, and we'll have 2 doors like this. Okay, so these are kind of strange looking doorways. It's this room is, so we've got a flat wall, right? We've got a flat wall. We have 2 flat walls, and then this just arc. So that's the best I think I can do in this little space. What is this room within the context of the cathedral? Let's head over to Page Mythic and let's get a description, meaning word, to see what this room is like. 31, this room is fragrant, so maybe there's incense in this room again. I don't know. Let's get another word. 04, this room is beautiful. Okay, maybe I'm picturing a fragrant and beautiful. I'm picturing like maybe stained glass. The arc makes me think that maybe there's like a wall with stained glass in it, and that this room is, it's serving yet another religious function. I don't know exactly what it is. Why don't we ask the question, are there like pews in this room, like benches for people to sit on? I don't know, 50-50. That's a yes, 14. So there are benches, going through the room. There's stained glass at the front. There's some kind of, raised, what is it called, a dais that for someone to stand on and talk to the room. So I'll go ahead and make these little pews and some kind of like pedestal for people to stand on to address the room. So, okay, some kind of, seems like a place where you could have a kind of a service. Now, it's interesting because they would probably have services up in the cathedral above, so I'm not sure why this is here. But hey, let's not question it too much. Let's now ask what is in this room by rolling on the room table. I'm hoping and praying that a peddler from beyond the void is hanging out on a pew in this room. We need to roll a 6 to encounter a peddler from beyond the void and to not die a miserable death. All right, here we go. We're going to roll a 6 kind of roll. This is a 6 kind of roll, and a 5. No, this is a tough monster. Oh, this is so bad. We're gonna have to chance fate, chance death again. Okay, so we need to roll a d4 to see what kind of tough monster is in this room. We get a 3. This is a Medusa. Okay, so there is a Medusa in this room. Awful. The last Medusa that Kargunt encountered ripped him a new one. Tore his ribs to pieces with this giant 2-handed sword. Really, it was bad. Kargunt has been at 1 HP since we encountered the Medusa back in this chamber. We have since, made a lap around, come back, exploring all around. He's just, tracking blood everywhere. So the Medusa is in this room. Is there another pile of bodies in this room? Let's ask that. The last Medusa had been piling bodies. So let's say that it is very likely that there's another pile of gruesome bodies in this room. So yeah, very likely. 26, that is a yes. I'm going to go ahead and draw the little awful symbol for a pile of bodies. I'm not sure why the bodies are piling up. Are the bodies religious? Are these people from above, from the religious order that uses the cathedral, or are these the bodies of cultists? I'm going to ask the question, are these the bodies of people from the religious order? And I'm going to say that this is likely. 31, yes, that is gruesome. The Medusa is in the room. The Medusa is in the room with these bodies. I'm not exactly sure what the Medusa is doing. Maybe it's building the pile like the other Medusa was. I don't know why they're building these piles of bodies everywhere. Is there something that Kargunt can see that is somewhat explanatory of why the Medusa is piling bodies? I'm going to say this is very unlikely, but just in case. 007. Okay, so that is a yes. It's not an exceptional yes, but Kargunt sees something. There's something going on. There's a reason why the Medusa is piling up the bodies, and Kargunt can see something that helps him contextualize why the bodies are being piled up. It's the first thing I can think of is some kind of ritual. Is there some kind of like, maybe instead of actively piling up the bodies, the Medusa is setting up a ritual around the bodies. I'm going to say that this is very likely. Let's ask the fate chart. 89. That is no. So the Medusa is not setting up a ritual around the bodies. Is the Medusa preparing to light the bodies on fire? We'll make that one very likely as well. That is a 26. That is a yes. So the Medusa is laying pieces of wood, maybe from the pews around the bodies. And it looks like the Medusa is planning to build a fire. Does Kargunt see some kind of like potion or vial nearby? Let's make it 50-50. That is a 65. That is a no. I was imagining maybe there's something that can get like thrown onto, something that could get thrown onto the fire. So if that's not the case, then my interpretation is just that the Medusa is piling up bodies, piling up pieces of wood around the bodies, intending to perform some kind of offering with the bodies of these, probably most likely innocent people. That's pretty messed up. However, we are currently in a predicament. So the Medusa, if it, it's going to notice us as we enter the room, and we need to flee. Essentially, we can't really risk trying to kill a Medusa. We don't need the silver that's going to come with the fight. We actually just need to get out of here, and that is a very dangerous proposition. So we need to flee from combat through the dungeon through the catacomb to the next room. So let's say, kind of arbitrarily, we flee out of this southeastern door. Okay. Now, as we flee, we run by the Medusa. Does the Medusa have a giant two-handed blade? Let's say it's likely. So this is a 69. That is a no. Okay, so the Medusa, let's say it has a sword and shield nearby. Let's say its shield is not equipped because it doesn't think that there's danger, and its sword isn't even equipped because it doesn't think there's danger. Kargunt enters the room and just kind of like shuffles through. Let's say that the Medusa takes a swipe at Kargunt as he goes by. I don't really have a good reason for why monsters don't chase after Kargunt in this game, so we'll just kind of hand wave that and say that the monster takes a swipe at Kargunt as he walks by. And what we need to know is how much of the swing hits Kargunt, and then how much of the damage does Kargunt's armor soak. If Kargunt takes even one hit of damage, then Kargunt is dead. Kargunt is sitting at 1 HP still. He has survived again and again against the odds, which is, insane. It's so crazy that I'm getting these rolls on camera. But here we are yet again with another life or death situation for Kargunt. And what this boils down to is this D4 here. I'm going to make one roll for the Medusa's damage, and I'm going to make another roll for Kargunt's armor soaking attempt. And if Medusa's damage is greater than the armor soaking roll, then Kargunt is dead, and otherwise Kargunt gets to live to fight another day, at least to one more room. Okay, so let's roll for the Medusa's damage, and I need this to be a low roll, so this is a 1 or a 2 kind of roll. Let's say a 1, and we get a 3. Okay, this is exactly what we got last time, so the odds are not looking good. So the Medusa is going to do 3 damage with its sword that it picks up and swipes at us. And the question is, does it catch on Kargunt's armor, or does it kill him? Medusa's grabbing this, swinging it backwards. If we roll a 3 or a 4, so it's a 50-50 chance yet again. If we roll a 3 or a 4, then Kargunt soaks the damage with his armor and can make it out of the room. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good day for our buddy Kargunt. All right, here we go. We need a 3 or a 4, and we get a 2. Okay. So the Medusa, it turns, it swings its blade, and it catches Kargunt in the back, burying itself into his back, and he falls to his knees. Let's go ahead and switch over to the HP. We're going to take 1 hit of damage. Kargunt will fall to his knees, and then he will collapse to the floor. And the next question that I have for Mythic is, does the Medusa pick up Kargunt's body and throw him on the pile of bodies? I'm going to say this is nearly certain. That is an 84. That is a yes. So Kargunt gets lifted up, blood everywhere, placed on top of the on the pile of bodies, and then does the Medusa light the pile? We're going to say that this is very likely. We get a 62. So the Medusa lights the pile with Kargunt at the top, and with a cackling laughter, you can imagine the scene fading to black. And once again, the curtain closes on our friend Kargunt, the Catacomb Rogue. All I can say is, wow, that was quite the series of fortunate events until Kargunt's luck ran out. Kargunt escaped death on a 50-50 roll over and over again. So we knew that this was coming. We needed to find a peddler, and we couldn't do it quite in time. So once again, we have an iteration of Kargunt, the Catacomb Rogue, dying before he even reaches level 2. And this just shows you how brutal of a game that Dark Fort is. I have no clue how I, lucked out and managed to get a character to level 7 on my first try. But for the two campaigns that we've held on the in the video series, it's been rough for Kargunt. We have not been able to we haven't been able to level up. We need, I think the difference really is that we need some bonus to our attack rolls, whether that comes through leveling up and getting the +1 to your attacks when attacking monsters, or if it comes from wielding a sword and getting a +1 to your attack rolls. One way or the other, we need a sword and we need armor for Kargunt to survive. Well, this has been a blast. I think this is an excellent way to end the session with Kargunt's untimely death, getting stuck in the back with the sword of a swiping Medusa. Very epic way to go out. In the next session, we will kick off another iteration of Kargunt. I really want to get Kargunt at least to level 2. Like, this has been so crazy brutal. I want to get Kargunt to level 2. I want to give him a fighting chance to have a full career as a Catacomb Delver, not just entering the Catacomb and reaching an untimely death too soon. So you can expect a reboot of Kargunt, another iteration. We're going to forget everything we know about Kargunt the Catacomb Rogue from the prior two campaigns. We're going to start fresh with a new guy, and we're going to try again. And it should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you like what you're seeing, please don't forget to like and subscribe to let me know that you want to see more solo role-playing content. I really appreciate that. And until we meet again, fight on.